I had so many pins in my hijab and she pulled it and sis, it yanked my hair. And I was like, in high school, I had a very wishy-washy relationship with hijabs, but when I transferred from my community college to my university is when I also got exposed to the MSA. And that is where I feel like my relationship with my hijab changed drastically. But being part of the MSA kind of indirectly taught me to be the opposite of everything that I was before. We had a whole word for when a guy and a girl interact, and it's called intermingling. So I never wanted to be caught intermingling, especially when I was getting right with my Lord. Like, what I look like intermingling? Asalamualaykum and welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Sawdatou, aka Bint Fatimah. On today's video, I'm going to be doing my hijab story / what hijab means to me. I might go on a tangent about self-righteousness and whatnot. We'll see. I'm going to be talking about how I came to wearing hijab, what my journey has been like with hijab, and what hijab has come to mean to me. If you're not already, you're here, okay? Oh, before I get started, I'm rude. Excuse me. How have you been? I know it's been only a week, but so many things happened in just a week's time. So how are you? Are you well? Have you drunk a lot of water? Have you been resting? Have you been achieving your goals or just relaxing? How are classes if you're taking online classes? How's life? Are you good? Okay, that is all. I really hope you guys are doing well though, honestly. It's beautiful outside. My lighting is my window, so I have my window like wide open. And the sky is just lovely and everything just looks wonderful and amazing. If you're here and you're new, welcome and thank you for clicking on this video. Click on that subscribe button. Also click on the bell notification button so that way you get notified every single time that I post. And inshallah, let's go ahead and get into this video. I started wearing hijab in high school. I made the decision to wear hijab in middle school, like 8th grade, probably my last month of 8th grade. So I remember I went to school and I had like close friends that were non-Muslim. I remember taking a hijab to school and putting it on and just being like, this is what I'm gonna look like, so don't be freaked out. That summer before high school, because it was high school, because I was starting to wear hijab, I went shopping with my mom. And I remember that made me so excited to wear hijab because I was like, I'm getting new clothes just for this. I had hijabs that matched my outfits. Oh my god. I cringe when I think of my earlier hijab days because I just wore my hijab all the way ugly, okay? I remember I went shopping, I had all these clothes, I was really excited. I was nervous, of course, because I was just like, I don't know how people are gonna react to me suddenly wearing hijab, especially we're not just transitioning from one school year to another, we're transitioning from middle school to high school, so it's a lot of change. I knew that not everybody from my high school would have gone to my middle school, so I was also meeting new people, so I was really nervous about it. It was really interesting just seeing how people who I went to middle school with, who I didn't tell ahead of time that I was gonna wear hijab, I feel like they were really like taken aback because it was kind of like, when did you suddenly become Muslim? Because I guess I don't have a Muslim sounding name. It wasn't like I sat there like, I am Muslim, woo, 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 all throughout middle school. So I'm pretty sure people were just like in shock. And I got questions, of course. I got people asking me if my parents forced me to wear it. I got people asking me, am I hot in it? Are you hot in your clothes when it's hot outside? Yes, I am hot. Otherwise, I had a pretty positive experience with hijab in high school. High school went by, it was a blur. Maybe I chose to forget it, or maybe it just wasn't that memorable. I did have a couple run-ins with my hijab. I remember one time I was sitting at the back of the bus and this one girl was talking to me, and I guess because I ignored her, she was upset. She tried to pull my hijab off. Mind you, like high school was the days where I never wore a hijab without a pin because I watch a lot of YouTubers and they talk about how important it is to have pins. Like, it's important. I would put like 5 pins in my head. So I had so many pins in my hijab and she pulled it and sis, it yanked my hair, and I was like, but I didn't say anything because I am passive aggressive. I didn't say anything because I was just like, I'm a pacifist. I'm not gonna get into an altercation. Also, I've never been in a physical fight and she could probably beat my butt. So I'm just gonna calm down and I'm gonna walk off this bus with pride. There was a little bit of me that was like a little hurt and upset, but then I got over it because later on in the school year, she ended up talking to me and we was chill. But otherwise, I didn't really have any negative experiences with my hijab because I was blessed enough to have a friend who was already a hijabi long before I was. I kind of had certain things that I was expecting would happen, but it didn't turn out to be that bad. I think I had the luxury of having experienced the hijabi experience without actually having it because of my friends. So I guess that's why I didn't get that many negative experiences and things of that nature. In high school, I had a very wishy-washy relationship with hijab. There were times where I posted on Facebook pictures of me without my hijab because I was like, only my friends can see it. Mind you, I had friends that were guys, but that's a whole nother story for a whole nother day. There was a time in college where my family and I ended up going to Senegal to visit in 2013. I feel like that summer I kind of sort of became a non-hijabi because the way African or Senegalese households are set up is like you have the house, but then you have a courtyard. Usually there's a door and the door is usually closed. But in my house, the door was always open because we had kids coming in and out. If I was in the house and I wasn't wearing a hijab, I wasn't wearing a scarf, I was dressed like in house clothes, people on the streets would just see me. I count that as my break from hijab. But when I came back, I feel like I took it a little bit more seriously. I've always been very comfortable around guys just because I grew up with like brothers, cousins, my dad, my uncle. So hugging and all that kind of stuff was fine with me when it came to guys. But when I transferred from my community college to my university is when I also got exposed to the MSA. And that is where I feel like my relationship with my hijab changed drastically. Not because of the MSA, but because of the relationship that I ended up having with the MSA. It wasn't that, I wouldn't say it's the MSA's fault, but I think it was like side effects of being part of the MSA. When I first joined my college, I really was not looking for friends because I had been going through a lot in my life and I felt like I just needed to be on my own for a while. So when I joined my 4-year college that I graduated from, I wasn't really looking for friends. And literally the only reason why I was glad that I saw the MSA was because I lived 30 minutes away from school and the commute was about 2 hours on bus. And I always had to wait for my dad to come pick me up or my brother because I wasn't driving. I was only happy for the MSA because I was like, okay, a place where I can pray. Because I had started taking my prayers a lot more seriously. I had started to like actually pray all 5 prayers a day. Even if not on time, that was like something new for me. When I got to the MSA, because they have like tabling events where all the clubs have a table. I remember when I first got there, they were so friendly to me, the girls at the MSA table, but I was just like, I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to find out where we're about to pray and that's it. But then I went to Jummah that week on campus and I met one of my best friends. I just love her, okay? I just fell in love with her. So I started hanging around the MSA a lot more than I used to. I started coming to events. I started getting more involved at tabling events, volunteering. We had an interfaith center, which was like a trailer where we would go to pray and have our events in our Jummah. I literally lived there. I didn't live on campus. And so since I was a commuter, that was like the most comfortable place for me. I would just go and study. There were outlets, there was Wi-Fi, there was a fridge, there was a microwave. And I started befriending a lot more people in the MSA and getting more comfortable. The MSA was very exciting for me because it was my first encounter with that many Muslims, young Muslim people who I felt like were very passionate about Islam, very passionate about practicing. But I think where the lines started getting blurred was when it came to issues of piety, issues of what a Muslim looks like and acts like. When I first joined the MSA, and of course the MSA evolved and changed depending on who the people were that were there, how old they were, how long they'd been there, it changed. I had been at my university for... Hi, it's editing Sawdatou. I'm here to like clarify a couple things. I must have suffered from memory loss while I was shooting this video because I didn't go to my university for 3 years. I went there for 4 years. I was there from, 2015 to 2019. So 4 years. I don't know why I'm like so sure that I've only been there for 3 years in this video, but yeah, disregard that. I started in December of 2015, so basically 2016 up till 2019. And I had been involved in MSA all through that I was there. One thing that I noticed is that the masjid communities that people came from, the majority of the people that were part of the MSA came from, dictated how our MSA was run. So if they came from a masjid community where piety looks like this and where the acceptable Muslim sounds and acts and looks like this, that's also what was kind of projected onto us. So I am Senegalese and I come from a culture where women are encouraged to be vocal. I know in my own household, at least, when I got passionate and heated about things, it's like my dad was proud of me. My parents never were like, Sawdatou, you have too many opinions, you better stop talking. Like, that wasn't something that, at least in my household, and I don't know if that applies to every single Senegalese person, but in my household, that's not how it was. And I grew up around a lot of strong women. They were willing to put up a fight for the things that they cared about, the things that they were passionate about. So I brought that with me, but being part of the MSA kind of indirectly taught me to be the opposite of everything that I was before. I stopped dressing in clothes that I was comfortable in just because those kind of clothes weren't necessarily Muslim enough. I used to wear like sweatpants. I would wear like my brother's Adidas pants and a t-shirt or a soccer jersey or something just because I had lab and I didn't want to come to school dressed nice if I had lab. But I stopped dressing like that because that didn't look Muslim. I started changing towards, there was a phase in my life where literally all I ever wore was abaya, which I'm not coming for nobody who wears only abaya. Like, I have nothing against you, but that was not part of my nature. I'm a very colorful person. I've always been in love with colors, but I stopped dressing like that because in the MSA community that I was in, being a hijabi meant that you have to dress a certain way in order for people to respect you. And it wasn't just a matter of whether or not people respected you, it was also a matter of whether or not people thought you were worthy of being respected. If I dressed a certain way, acted a certain way, then people would take that as that was their green light to treat me disrespectfully. So I've had guys in the MSA comment on clothes that I wear, oh, that looks good on you. And not like in like a friendly way, but in a very like, you just like being sneaky and sleazy. You're disrespecting me and I don't see you do that with other women. And it was really interesting because there would be times where I would wear an outfit and I could see guys or girls around me kind of callous and act different around me, and then somebody else who doesn't have the same exact body shape or body type as me would wear the same exact outfit and nobody would say anything to her. I didn't recognize that while I was there, and like I said, I had my phase where I assumed that hijab looked a certain way, acted a certain way, and that was the only way that I could be a Muslim. That was the only way that I could be right with my Lord, was dressing and acting and talking a certain way. I'm very much an extrovert. I'm very much a talker, as you can tell. Having to kind of give up on the things that were important to me, the things that made me who I was, I feel like it numbed my spirit without me recognizing it while I was in that phase. And I went through a phase of self-righteousness where once I reached nirvana and I started wearing only abaya and I stopped wearing bright colors, I started feeling like I had the right to tell other people how to practice their Islam. And that started at home. So I would come home and I was very, if you ask my brothers, they would probably tell you she was annoying as heck. I was very like, why don't you guys care about Islam? Why don't you guys care about your religion? And I get so passionate, so emotional about it, but I didn't recognize that I had adopted the same self-righteous mentality that I saw people project on me to my own family. Now that I look back on it, I regret it all. I regret it all. I regret my self-righteous stage, but I'm glad that I went through that, because then I don't think I would have been able to grow spiritually, emotionally, mentally, all that kind of stuff if I didn't go through that stage where I thought I was better than other people because I looked and acted Muslim. Going back to that whole thing of what I was saying, that when I was in high school, when I was in early college, I didn't really mind hugging guys, shaking hands with guys, whatever. But being part of the MSA, that wasn't part of the MSA behavior. We had a whole word for when a guy and a girl interact, and it's called intermingling. Just like when we talk about freaking biology and we say intermingling, that's what we called interactions between guys and girls. So I never wanted to be caught intermingling, especially when I was getting right with my Lord. Like, what I look like intermingling? So there was a time I had a friend, a guy friend, we were in a bio class together, a bio lab class together, and we had gotten pretty close and pretty comfortable. If I didn't see him for a really long time because we had break or we didn't have our class for a little while, he would give me a hug and I'd hug him back. But I remember one time we had an MSA tabling event and he came and he saw me and he was like, hey, and he opens his arms and I'm like, abort mission, and I'm freaking out. Now that I'm looking back on it, it's just like, and he was so shocked and he didn't understand what was going on, and I tried to explain to him, I don't really hug guys anymore, so blah blah, but it's like, why is it that now that I was in front of Muslims, I was so much more conscientious of the fact that I was hugging a guy when they weren't around, I was comfortable, I was fine. So it made me, afterwards, after the fact, like long after, this was probably years after when I look back at it, it made me realize that the issue with self-righteousness is that, and the issue with assuming that you are Muslim enough, you are good enough, it kind of brings about this thing where you don't fear Allah anymore. You fear the opinion of others. You fear the thoughts of others. You fear the way that other people view you, and not necessarily how Allah views you, because Allah saw me when I hugged him in my bio class, and Allah saw me when I was in front of the MSA table. So I went through that whole self-righteous stage. I went through a stage where I did not talk to guys very often. I avoided being around guys, and I think part of that came from an interaction that I had, and I'm not going to go into detail about it because I feel like the people who are involved might be watching this and they'll know. I remember one time I had an interaction where I was in a room full of guys and someone talked to somebody else and they came and they talked to me. The way that they talked to me, it felt like it came from a good place, but whenever I reflect back on it, I recognize and realize how it has shot my any hope that I had of fixing or doing better in my relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that interaction made me feel like that was zero. Because I feel like when I got to my university, I had started actually genuinely having this thirst and love for Islam and wanting to learn more. But when I had other people come to me and criticize my behavior and giving me nasiha on how I could be a better person, it just made me feel like, wow, I really care about this religion. I really care about trying to become better, but I'm not doing better. And I think if I had not had my mom, if I had not had my best friends with me along that journey of college, I probably would have left college not as close to my religion as I was when I started, because of the interactions that I had, because of the way that I experienced self-righteousness, because of the way that people policed my hijab, policed my body, policed the way that I interacted, the way that I talked. Part of me, before I left college, I became very bitter, because I would start looking back and being like, wait, hold up, how does somebody have me convinced that I'm not Muslim enough because of the way that I dress? Or because of the way that I talk? Like, how is it that somebody convinced me hijab is just that and that's it? Now, I recognize that hijab is not my business, not your business. It's between that person and Allah. That's it. Khalas, end of conversation. So for me, I feel like hijab at first used to just mean, well, I'm doing the thing that Allah asked me to do. So I think over time it started becoming a symbol of my worth. It started becoming a symbol of my religiosity, which I don't think it should be. But now I think hijab has come to mean to me that I'm trying. I put a scarf on my head for no one else's sake but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I try to dress modestly for no one else's sake but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I try to make sure I'm aware of my interactions, not just with the opposite gender, with human beings, for no one else's sake but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So hijab has come to mean to me trying and doing my best and working to cultivate and grow and flourish the relationship that I have with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you're a Muslim woman watching this, please, let's stop with the fake nasiha. Let's stop with the, I'm trying to just help a sister out. No. Like, let's actually support each other, love each other, and help each other, because hijab is not the easiest thing in the world. Whether somebody wears hijab or doesn't wear hijab, recognize that it is a personal relationship. It is not for people's commentary. Let's all be aware of the fact that we are all works in progress. We are all trying to grow and learn and develop and become better and be understanding of other people on their path and on their journey to growth and betterment. That is my hijab story. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys gained something positive, something good. Inshallah, I hope that the sun is shining brightly wherever you are, that you're warm and happy, and that you're doing great. I hope you're drinking plenty of water, staying hydrated, and that your skin is glowing, sis. Again, if you're not already, subscribe to my channel, click the bell notification, follow me on Instagram. You know, all that. It'll be in the description box down below. This is a heart. So, peace and love. Asalamualaykum. Bye.